Hi everyone, welcome to EarlyON. My name is Denise Sparks and I am a resource consultant from Lansdowne Children's Center. Today I would like to share with you the importance of teaching children about their feelings. But before I begin, I would like to actually start by asking all of you a question. My question is, if you were to take a guess as to how many emotions actually exist in the universe, what might your guess be? When I asked this same question, I received guesses from about 500 being on the low end to about 5,000 being the largest number guessed. But when I thought about the answer to this question, I thought somewhere between 1 to 2,000. So the answer almost knocked me off my seat. Dr. Alan Watkins, a physician and neuroscientist, says that approximately 34,000 emotions actually exist in the universe. That is a gigantic number, and I personally would have never guessed a number that high. The other astonishing piece to this puzzle is that most people go through their life experiencing a mere 10 to 12 of those 34,000 emotions throughout their lifespan. I thought this was pretty interesting and thought it was something I would like to share. Moving forward, though, I'd like to talk about and/or define what a feeling and what an emotion can be described as. Because if we think about feelings and emotions, most of us assume that they are essentially the same thing, right? I know for the longest time, I believed that there really wasn't a significant difference between a feeling and an emotion. But there actually is a certain distinction between the two. They are very closely related, and a lot of people actually describe them as being kind of the opposite sides of the same coin. So there are many ideas that I have come across that are used to describe the differences, such as things like feelings are more personal, whereas emotions are more universal. Feelings can be considered a pre-thought, whereas emotions are an afterthought. Also, feelings are produced in our minds and emotions are produced in our bodies. So with all of these ideas, author and science journalist Daniel Goleman says that a feeling can actually be described as a reaction or a sensation that comes from our five senses. Therefore, a feeling is felt in our body from an immediate experience as a result from outside stimuli. Emotions can be produced by a thought or a memory and can often influence our mental state. Emotions will cause, those physical reactions that we get, like a pounding heartbeat, difficulty concentrating, maybe shaking. I know it's actually pretty confusing. I did read something that helps me understand the distinctions a little bit better that I wanted to quickly share. It states that feelings are instinctual. Like, we know when something feels wrong or bad, and we know instinctively when something feels right. It just kind of comes from our gut. But how emotions come into play is that they somehow trick us a little bit, where they pop in, say, during a time of sadness, and they make it bigger than it actually needs to be. So, like, your gut will say, I'm feeling really bad right now, but your emotions will ramp it up and say, oh my, this is awful, this is so horrible. Essentially, what we are doing is making a molehill out of a mountain, respectfully, of course. And when we do this, we act out of a feeling instead of letting that sad feeling pass as a temporary feeling the way it's meant to. So when we're thinking about children and their emotions, we need to recognize that children experience many of the same emotions that adults do. They also feel angry, jealous, excited, sad, silly, worried, to name a few. The difference is that children lack the self-control and language skills, some children, to express those feelings in socially appropriate and acceptable ways. Therefore, your child might hit or throw their toys when they're frustrated. They might have a hard time settling down after an exciting day, or event. Or we might see this when a young child cries at childcare drop-off, expressing how difficult it is to say goodbye to their mommy or daddy or caregiver. So this is where parents and caregivers come to the rescue, as we have a big responsibility in helping children learn about their feelings. I'd like to just read a little story and ask again if this sounds familiar to any of you. So Charlie is playing with his 4-year-old son, who selects a dinosaur puzzle and is working really hard to match the pieces. Charlie's son is having a difficult time matching one of the pieces, so Charlie asks him, "How about I help you place it in the right way?" His son shoves Charlie's hand away, frustrated, and says, "No, I can do it." He tries to place the piece in again and is unsuccessful. Charlie's son is now upset, and he screams and he throws the puzzle piece across the room. So I'm sure we have all experienced something like this before, and if this does sound familiar, how might you respond to something like this? Would you throw in the towel or quit, or perhaps say, "I'll try again tomorrow"? Or could you turn this around and create a brand new lesson about helping your child understand and talk about his or her emotions? Thinking about that scenario, what can we do as caring parents or caregivers to help children to understand and express their emotions effectively? One way involves giving feelings names, followed by, of course, encouraging children to talk about how they feel. An example of this might sound something like, "Mommy left on a trip for work and you are sad. You want your mommy." So by giving your child a label for his emotions, what you are actually doing is helping your child to develop a vocabulary for talking about feelings. We want to build up our children's repertoire of feeling words and expand beyond just happy, sad, mad, because as I stated earlier, there are so many other feeling words that children should learn to express. Words such as brave, proud, peaceful, worried, stubborn, embarrassed, interested. I can go on, but I'm sure you get the point. The next strategy involves the idea of giving children plenty of opportunities to identify feelings in themselves and to identify feelings in other people as well. For example, if you're at the park, you might say something like, "Swinging on that swing is so much fun. I can see you're smiling. Are you feeling happy?" Or you could also ask your child to reflect on what someone else might be doing or feeling, such as, "Maria fell down and scraped her knee. How do you think she's feeling right now?" Another strategy involves teaching your child to the different ways that they can respond to specific feelings, conflicts, and problems. A way we can do this is by talking about our own feelings, so modeling the behavior for them. Of course, however, caution about the topics we choose and how much is too much to share. Keep it developmentally appropriate, of course. But for example, you could say things like, "Remember the other day when Mommy couldn't get the TV to work? Mommy got really mad, and do you remember what my face looked like? Can you make the face that Mommy made?" It's important to talk to children about the many ways that we deal with specific feelings, such as, "When I get mad, I take a deep breath, I count to 5, sometimes 10 if I'm feeling extra mad, and then I stop and try and think of the best way to solve the problem that I'm having." So explaining feelings by using words, of course, that are child-friendly and that they can easily understand. You can also use picture books, even videos to help get your point across. Things like reading a story to your child. You could say, "Look at little baby bear's face. He is so sad when he sees his broken chair." We can also use real life experiences and examples, or you can teach in the moment. Things like teaching in the moment might look like you might notice your child struggling with something and could support him by saying, I see you're having a difficult time putting your bike into the garage. You look really frustrated. I wonder what you could do. I wonder if you could ask for help, or maybe take a deep breath and then perhaps try again. What would you like to do? Because as we know that when we provide children with choices and let them make their own choices, it helps to make them accountable for their own actions. So teaching based on real life experiences might sound like, yesterday you were really mad because your sister would not let you ride on her scooter. You were so mad that you hit her. When you feel angry that your sister won't let you have a turn, what should you do? Another thing we can do is use story time and children's books. I think I mentioned that earlier, but about feelings. So when reading a book, we can ask our child, what is the character in the book feeling right now? We can expand on that by asking him or her, how do you think the character is feeling in the book? And why do you think the character is feeling that way? Perhaps we could even extend the conversation some more and ask, have you ever felt that way? And what do you do when you feel that way? So, thinking about using it as a learning opportunity to teach your child to express their feelings in a positive way. Teach your child to act on the feelings by a couple examples or strategies. I think we mentioned taking some deep breaths, asking for help or support, walking away and taking a time out, finding a different way to do things, taking time to relax before trying again might be helpful. Trying to solve problems, of course, with words, saying what they feel instead of acting it out, talking with a grown-up about what is happening, spending time with a loved one, or just asking for a hug or a cuddle, and describing what they're feeling or the reactions in their body. And always remembering to praise your child when he or she makes any attempts at talking about their feelings, and supporting them to practice the skills any chance you get, whether it's at dinner time, driving in the car. Those are all good ideas. One warning I do have is attempting to practice with your child if he or she is in the midst of a meltdown. That may not be the most effective approach. Because when a child is experiencing overwhelming feelings that result in a meltdown, what is actually occurring in their brain, without using big science words, is that the thinking and the problem solving part of their brain is ultimately closed off. So trying to reason with him or her is essentially hopeless. It's far more valuable if we use calm and quiet moments to teach the new skills. Understanding emotions is a crucial part of children's overall development. So it's up to us as adults to teach children to understand and to deal with their emotions in positive and constructive ways. We should always validate our children's emotions and never punish them for expressing their feelings. Kids who learn healthy ways to cope with their feelings are more likely to be empathetic and supportive of others, perform better in school and their future careers, have more positive and stable relationships, have good overall mental health and well-being, display less behavioral problems, develop resilience and coping skills, and just feel more confident, capable, and competent, and have a positive sense of self, which is so important. So remember, life can be overwhelming for our little ones. Listen to your child's feelings, stay present, and resist the urge to make your child's bad feelings go away. Support your child to identify and express their feelings so that they are heard. When feelings are minimized or dismissed, they will often be expressed in unhealthy ways. I hope that this information was helpful, and I thank you for joining our early parent information session today. Take care.
A resource consultant from the Early Integration Program is available to talk to you should you want more information, support, or to discuss any concerns or questions you may have. Please contact us by email at eip@lansdowncc.com or by phone at 519-753-3153. Ask reception if you can speak to a resource consultant.